So, with retem fast approaching and my new series starting, I think I will start over-analyzing equipment. This video will be part guide and part explanation video. We will start with the guide. Weapons. For retem, you have two options for efficient leveling in your weapon, and a third if you want the process to take 50 years. Your efficient options are Striga and Evercult. Striga is good for single non-boss enemies, as in any combat experience you get less than 80% of the peanut butter. Striga will outperform Evercult. However, since you are likely going to be chain farming mobs until the end of days, Evercult ends up most likely being the best choice for leveling, as more peanut butters means more DPS, and more DPS means, well, you get the idea. Your other option is the bare minimum in base game weapons, which I highly do not recommend. At least get an NGS weapon. At least get one, please. I could do the math to show you how much weaker they are, but people will use these base weapons anyway, regardless of what I suggest. It takes 12 plus 20 silver prim swords and plus 3 unenhanced prim swords to max out a weapon. Make sure to unlock the level 4 potential, as this will also significantly increase the damage of the weapon. I won't go into pricing. Silver prim swords were 8k on my servers each at plus 20, so it is pretty inexpensive either way. Units. For units you also have two efficient options. Go for health or damage. Gigant is your damage set, and Vialto series is your defense set. Easy. Personally, I'd recommend Gigant over Vialto series, as more damage is usually the way to go. However, since we are going into a new zone, I should stress that it is fairly dangerous to use the Gigant armors. We may not immediately know what attacks will have status tied to them, and a good random freeze could easily be the death of you. So, if you choose Gigant, keep in mind that status and you may have a toxic relationship. Otherwise, units take 8 gold prim armors to max out, or 12 silver prim armors plus 2 Theasis armors to max out. This, like weapons, is ignoring proccing a great success, and when enhancing you should take this into account, aka don't immediately use all your resources. If you have an enhancement aid 100%, you can check if a great success will go over the limit so you can avoid accidentally using resources. You do have one other option, base game units. If you are planning on using these base game units, you may as well just upgrade the Gigant. It is fairly easy to do so, just pick up any 3 Gigant armors, enhance and then augment. The expensive part would be the augments. Actual enhancement for unit right now depends on if you farm the gold or silver prim armors, or buy them from the market for the most part. If you buy them, it will be more expensive, but the free units should still be around 1 million Meseta. And 4k per unit used to enhance for players who farm the units. For augments, I recommend your primary proficiency augment, so precision free, technique free, or might free, Ale Domina, next Datal or Petus Souls, or instead of Petus Soul, Ragus Soul if you want more health, and your Gigas augment. If you don't want to run Ale Domina, it is fairly expensive to make, and I understand. I recommend running either an exploit. The problem with exploit though is that you'll have to check what element enemies are weak to before using them in Retem, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you can substitute it for a weaker note augment, Dreadkeeper, or Alt Secreta 2. If you can afford it, Mastery is also viable. Also, this recommendation is for both units and weapons. Fixer augments, while they are great to have, they are not necessary. If you can't afford them, do not stress. As always, more damage will mean you clear faster, but do remember that if you already have a Fixer 3 attack and are thinking of upgrading to a Fixer 5 attack, the extra 1.5% realistically won't be very visible. It is also really hard to say how big of a difference it would make in the first place as well, but if the grind is on the longer end, Fixer augments will have more value. If, however, you want to budget build, I'd still go with 4-star units and weapons, but I'd definitely grind out the prim armors from the yellow battle tier. It should be mentioned that basically everything on my augment guide list is grindable outside from Mastery, and perhaps to some degree Dreadkeeper, as all veteran enemies are always dead. Note, Mastery isn't farmable from scratch right now, as you can only get a limited number per day, based on the amount of minerals you collect. The same goes for Ale Domina, however, you should still have enough time between now and then you can set of Ale Domina. But here is a budget augment setup. Precision or Might or Tech free. Magnus, Rizola or Lab Notes, Alts, Secretar 2, and Forms, or Next 2 or Ragos Souls. If you want a hybrid build for all potencies, you're stuck with L Domina, Alt Secretar 2, Threadkeeper, and Dol's Soul free, or Mastery free. If you're running only 2 potencies, you can substitute Threadkeeper, Dol's Soul free, or Mastery free for your durable augment instead. I will note that potency floor increase is highly inferior to potency increase, especially if there isn't an additive floor increase. If it is additive, simply halve the display potency floor increase. If it isn't, however, and you will know if you pay attention to your weapon variants, you will have to do some math to figure out how much DPS it gives you. Another note, I am not entirely certain if potency floor increase works properly on units. Otherwise, I have been RSV. I hope my guide was useful to you, and hope you enjoyed the first episode of the series. If you have any questions or corrections, mention in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.